need a bodyguard. Pastor Toby sent them over here.
Joe Stout, Aaron, doesn't matter. Pick a chair.
You can walk around.
You come all the way around.
You can walk around, Aaron. You're skinny.
If you're first,
all right.
Come in. You got headset right here on this headset. Might need
Aaron, he got it. Hold on, man. Hey, if you're listening on the SpaceX right now, let me just say that Aaron walked in here looks so serious. He's got like a tablet, like he's got notes, like he's about to present a whole sermon.
I got a PowerPoint.
And I just want you to know, Aaron, I have a mute button for you too. So don't you go over here and start talking for like 45 minutes and don't give anybody else time to speak.
Okay, so to introduce you guys, Pastor Aaron Ventura here at Christ Covenant Church in Centralia, Washington.
I remember when this guy got to my.
I know. He was a baby. He was a baby when he got here.
Yeah.
And then we got just keep doing move whatever. You listen to the guys. And then which one of you is Joe Stout?
Okay, Joe Stout.
Joe, good to meet you. Eat the mic. Get into the mic. Yeah, scoot in as far as you guys can.
There you go.
And then who are you, brother?
I'm one of the other elders.
Okay.
Our church.
Luke Murky.
I was gonna say, Luke, you starting to sound like a Fed. I'm just a guy.
Is he wearing khakis?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Hello, fellow CrossPolitic.
He's got Fed juju all over him.
He's an engineer and he's our accountant. So
that's right.
Watch him out. Okay.
Hey, the money get funny. We don't play that. So okay.
So all right. I was laughing too much. What's your name again?
Luke.
Joe. And Joe, are you an elder at the church? Okay.
Elder at the church as well.
Okay, and then what's your day job?
Day job, I'm a goat farmer.
Ooh.
No jokes.
Stanky goats.
Capra.com is that?
That's right, exactly.
What's the website?
nowcapra.com, but that's not why we're here. But
how do you make money off goats?
Well, you don't. You just are poor.
Not true.
Yeah, it was like somebody was saying at council meeting this morning that certain people are only worthy of watching goats, and it was a pejorative. I took it personally.
You're like, your whole farm's going to hell.
That's right. Exactly.
I mean, the sheep are over there. Yeah. Apparently I got all the goats.
I got all the goats. Right.
So you're probably you got a very interesting perspective as an elder being a goat farmer.
Sure.
I was gonna say like
constantly warned.
Sermon material all the time.
All
right?
the time, yeah. There's coffee there if you guys want some. So what's real quick, let's just kind of to get through this intro. What's y'all's church's website, Aaron?
ChristCovenantCentralia.com.
ChristCovenantCentralia.com.
Yes.
Aaron,
what's the school? I think the school just changed.
So we also have a school that we started. That's ChristTheKingAcademy.org.
Okay.
So
and didn't you guys get a building already or something like that?
Yeah. God has blessed us through the good saints at Calvary Chapel, and they've given us a sweet deal of a building that we have, and then the school uses it as well. So
wow.
It's
Calvary Chapel folks legit.
They are.
I ain't gonna lie. They legit.
They blessed us in a lot of ways.
Well, praise God.
They were just rock solid through the whole COVID nonsense. And they are bearing much fruit. They're getting huge because of that. So
people don't. I have so much to say about that. All right.
Amen. Okay, so you've been pastoring there now. So you went to Great Fires here in Moscow, Idaho. Yep. And then you've been pastoring there now for how many years?
Almost a year.
Not even a year.
No, not even a year yet.
It's not even your birthday yet.
It's not even yet.
Hey, you look like you aged 10 years already. Wow.
Because he was a baby. You were a baby face.
Yes, that is true.
Okay, and then how many elders do you have?
Yes, we have Joe, Luke, and then one other elder who couldn't be here. Got a couple deacons. One of them's Joe's dad, who's the real goat farmer.
Yeah, he's the head goat farmer.
He's the goat.
He's the real goat.
Joe is what makes it profitable.
Yeah.
Frank is the one who tends to the goats.
Right.
Okay. And then how many families you guys have in a church? So
there's about 120 people in the church. We got probably 25 households and like 96 members, I believe. So
and so you grew up in Washington, didn't you?
Silverdale. I went to UW in Seattle.
Yep.
So, but I had never been.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because Centralia is different. It's not Seattle.
Yeah. So we're 30 minutes from Olympia, and it's culturally, very different than Moscow. So you can think Moscow is the kind of blue dot in the red state.
Yeah.
Centralia is more of the red dot in a blue state.
Okay.
So, the inverse of what you have here.
Yeah. And so now that you've been pastoring for 11 months or 10 months or whatever that
I'm
is.
full of wisdom.
Yeah.
You look like it.
But it sounds like to me, you got busy quick. getting over there? I mean, probably
Yeah.
what I saw was also just legwork that had already been going. I just didn't see until you really got over there.
Yeah, I mean, so it was from my perspective like a turnkey because so Dave Hatcher worked. They are our mother church.
Okay.
And
I didn't know
there
that.
was so
Okay.
much work and the families that went in to get to the point where they could call me, and it was. I was telling my wife, I'm pretty sure they're going to ask me how can I say no without hurting their feelings because I really like them, but I don't want to go to Washington. This was, COVID had happened. There was still like mask stuff. I hadn't been over to see my family in Washington because of some of the stuff. I like breathing the free Idaho mask-free air.
Yeah.
So I just in my heart I didn't want to go back to Washington, but Joe came out for Grace Agenda. We talked. I asked him all my questions. We sat for like 3 hours at Bootzer's with his, 8 kids at the big table
And goats.
Yeah, exactly. Both kinds of kids.
Nah.
So I actually like the many hurdles of moving to Washington. God just removed, like gave me a place to live for free. I live on a dairy farm.
Bro, you just living it up out there.
So yeah, it's
Like a
goats.
cow farm?
It's goats. Yeah. So if you got dairy gold milk, you're getting it. Some of it
Wow.
That's
from the
exactly right.
1,500 cows right next door to where I live.
Do you get free tri-tip?
There are 3 chest freezers full of ground beef
Doggone.
that we have just open access to. They, the
Doggone.
family we
If the
stay
government
with,
shuts
it's just-
down, I know where I'm going.
Yeah, that's right. Come on
My
over.
Milk,
goodness.
goats, cows, tri-tip.
Milk,
Yeah.
that's pretty great.
butter,
That's great.
cheese.
And so you guys actually already have a Christian school that started going.
Yeah. So Joe and Luke could maybe talk more about that because
Was that
that
before
started
Aaron?
before
That was
I.
before? Okay.
Yeah, that was actually just in its infancy. Well, we're actually still in our infancy. We just started our second year,
Uh-huh.
but we began the school in 2022. But we got our first exploratory meeting in May of the same year that we started.
Uh-huh.
So we really fast tracked it a lot.
Wow. So it took you 3 months basically to start the school.
Who's
pretty
the
much.
we?
Well, we formed a board right out of the gate. And
So it's not the church; it's a whole board that's separate.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're very intertwined though, because
Okay.
all of our board are from the church.
Okay.
But they are technically separate organizations. But it's an ACCS classical Christian school. We just got officially accepted as a member school in the
Sweet.
ACCS.
Yeah.
So we were startup school for the first year, and now we are officially in that organization as an official school. We've got a headmaster. We've got 4 teachers. We actually, here's the really crazy thing. We started K through 12.
No
Whoa.
way.
Right out of the gate, K through 12, which we know is a bad idea.
Okay.
But it was
Wow.
so we realized how foolish we
Yeah.
were being, but that was the kids that we had.
You had K through 12.
Yeah.
You guys already had K
Yeah,
through 12.
we had K through 12. So we couldn't start
Stop.
like K through 9
Yeah.
and then leave the other kids for
Yeah.
the public school.
Okay, wait. So hold on a second. How old is the church? How long has the church been established?
Well, we
2.5
have been particularized for about 3.5 hours.
well, congratulations,
Thank
my
you
dude.
very
Yeah,
much.
that's good. So you guys are new.
We didn't
So
say
it
anything
takes you-
really stupid on
Yeah,
the floor of
that's
Presbytery, so we passed.
They took you.
Okay, so
Oh,
then
wait.
oh,
But it takes 2 years to get particularized. So how
Yeah.
long before that were
Yeah,
you guys?
May
working?
of 2021. So Pentecost Sunday of 2021, we got.
Oh, you remember that, don't
Yeah,
you?
we remember that. That was a big day.
Okay, so let's just say 3 years in,
2.5.
two and a half
2.5.
years in, and then a school K through 12 immediately.
I mean, the school's going into its second year, so
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess you guys are.
Yeah.
You guys
You guys
planted.
started
church
and
in
then a year
school.
later,
Bam.
school.
yeah.
Okay.
I like these guys.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
This is amazing.
Hey,
Why?
I just want. I want to just say this. Like farmers get things done.
That's right.
Some
Exactly.
No, but
farmers
them
get
goats.
things done.
Okay, so why? You got to work through this. You guys are thinking about
That's
this. What's
funny.
up? This got a church and a school that are almost simultaneous.
Yeah, it really it's one of the many blessings that came out of all the COVID nonsense. If it hadn't been for COVID, none of this would have even be probably happening right now. And so we thank God for COVID
Yeah.
in a huge way on a
That's
regular
interesting.
basis.
So you're saying COVID really pressed the idea of school and
Well,
worship.
starting a church.
And so-
Well, local resiliency was the thing that opened a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to change the trajectory of the nation
Uh-huh.
if you don't know what's going on in your own local community.
Doggone.
you're just gonna stop right there.
Yeah.
Doggone.
Is
It's
there
so
anything
much
else
of
to say?
So did you guys like know each other before COVID? Did like
Yeah,
the church
yeah.
just kind of like find each other? Like what?
No, we did. We knew each other. We didn't have a very extensive relationship, but there was some people in the community that were Reformed and were other places. We were like my family. We were worshiping at a church up in Olympia.
Move that mic closer into you. Yeah.
And we were just really looking for like-minded people in our community. And Joe and I got hooked up together and a few others, and we started having Bible study, and the Bible study and a theology discussion just turned into the church.
Wow.
But I didn't know much. I was very new to the denomination, to the CREC.
Okay.
But
were you Reformed already, or had
I was Reformed?
Okay,
yeah, I had Reformed.
So it wasn't cray for you.
Not totally, but it was definitely different. It was a different idea.
Sure.
But as soon as we met Hatch, and as soon as we had that first conversation with Hatch, and I was pretty sold at that point. I was like, hey, this guy's
because
solid.
you cannot meet Hatch and not want to like follow that guy.
Are we talking about Dave?
You know?
Dave Hatcher.
Dave, he's like a silent Godfather killer. He is. Yeah.
I was thinking Tyler, but both of them, either one of them.
Yeah, either one.
And Tyler has preached for us many times as we were a mission church, and we've grown to just love their family and do a lot with them. So,
but there's a big thing that happened with Luke over the last 2.5 years, though. Went from Reformed Baptist
to Presbyterian.
To baptizing babies.
Baptizing babies.
Hey, I knew
he baptized one of my daughters.
I knew you weren't smelling like goats over there.
Praise God for COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
So the church kind of comes together and starts in 2021, and then a year later, you guys are like, man, we got to start a school.
Yeah, but honestly, just like Joe said, that was probably all of the thankfulness of COVID, really, because everybody went crazy. Right.
Yeah.
And we could see that there was a real need for uniformity and like-mindedness in the education of our kids.
Yeah.
And Joe had already yearned for the development of a classical Christian school in our area anyways. So he was kind of the real tip of the spear when it came to doing that. He knew who to ask. He knew where to look.
Yeah.
And the realization was there, though, that, man, we needed a better option for our kids. And
Yeah.
once once a few of us other families learned more about classical Christian education, about the ACCS, it was like, okay, this is what we need to do.
What is part of what you guys want to talk about was Christian education and the church responsibility. Can we talk about the second half of that?
Yeah.
The responsibility of the church in education?
Yeah.
Who wants to jump in on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Aaron's got some.
Yeah.
He's got
that's
his
what he's got
PowerPoint.
So
all right.
So let me set it up this way, because in the time we have allotted, I want to really just raise awareness about a problem that I think this generation needs to figure out how to solve within the classical Christian, CREC, our circles in general. And I want to give you just kind of 2 data points
that we need to figure out or solve.
This is a problem that I think we as a community, CREC, churches, ACCS.
Yeah, I'm listening.
This is a problem that I think a lot of headmasters will tell you they feel, a lot of teachers will tell you they feel, and it's this. How do you mediate the tension between making a good quality education affordable and pay a teacher and retain a teacher on a single income
living wage
household
for the
wage? Now, we've always had to make sacrifices. We got to do that. There are 2 unique things that have happened economically on the macro level that I think has really exacerbated this problem to a point of like, we really need to seriously talk about this. And that is, one, right now we're living in this crazy cost of housing bubble. So who knows?
Inflationary world.
So who knows how rates are going to go? Maybe they'll come down. But like right now, if you want to buy a house and you're following like Dave Ramsey principles, you need to make like well over $100,000 to buy a $300,000 house, right?
Yeah.
So that, and then also the labor participation rate for women just peaked at 70. Let me see.
You better shut up. I don't even want to hear no numbers like that.
78% in April 2023. Our nation hit a record 78% labor participation rate for women ages 25 to 54.
Oh, that's the devil.
So
right
if
there.
you take 1 Timothy 5 seriously about I'm talking about women in the external workforce, because obviously
Amen.
You're doing work if you're a mom. So if those are the economic conditions that you as like a young NSA grad are going into, and you want to, we're preaching it's good to have children. Children are a blessing. It's good to work. We got to make these sacrifices. And then you're sitting down to do the budget for your school, or you're sitting down to do the budget for your church. And you're like, okay, how would you ever make the numbers work for that guy to be a teacher at that school and send his kids there?
Right.
So thought experiment. How do you figure that out? So that's a tension I know that a lot of schools feel with how do you
100%.
retain quality teachers? I'm sure even at NSA, at the collegiate level, you feel this. But this is something that we're trying to talk through, work through, explore different options, get creative with. How can the church step in, help, assist? What things are, a proper use of the tithe? What category does something like this fall under in terms of, is this now a benevolence kind of thing? What category does this fall under? And there's lots of different ways that people are trying to solve this. But this is a real pressure that I think a lot of schools and parents are feeling with some of these economic conditions. And it's only unless something major happens macroeconomically, we're super underbuilt in housing. So even if rates come down, there's still not enough supply. And how are you going to ever get back to an America that has the single income household as a norm when you have 78% of women being kind of, whether feeling the necessity of, I got to go work so my kid can go to a good classical Christian school or something. So that's the tension I wanted to just put on the table and, let other people try to figure that out.
No.
You don't just stop there.
Aaron, you don't get to come in here and create a problem and talk about the problems and not have an answer.
So our solution is in motion. So I don't want to.
No spoiler alerts.
Yeah, I'll come back in a year and tell you how it goes.
No!
Is that how you pastor?
With
every sermon ends with a teaser for the next one.
Here's the problem. You got a lust problem.
Go
I got
home
no
and
solution for
figure
you
it
right
out.
now. You gotta come back
Are
next
you
year.
really gonna do
Come back
that?
next
Are
year.
you serious?
Yeah,
I got a solution.
I could float a bunch of. There are a bunch of solutions that I could float.
Yeah.
Some of them are bad. So you'd have to just take this with a grain of salt.
What's a bad solution
in your context?
What we're currently doing.
So a bad solution would be just taking government money to fund your
Facts.
school,
Facts.
unless we got a Christian government funding.
We long way.
Christian
We will long way.
government
Okay,
schools,
I'm with you.
So
All right,
we're
talking about
great
I'm not with you. I'm not with you on a Christian government funding a Christian school. Not there.
we can argue the principle of these things. So let me just give you an example from what have typically been the Reformed enemies, the Jesuits, and even enemies amongst Roman Catholics, the Jesuits. The Jesuits in the colonial era, not in America.
You
but
had
in the
this in you the
colonial
whole
era.
time, and I had to pull it out of you. Oh boy, I'm gonna get you. Go ahead.
So one of the reasons why the Jesuits became so prominent was because they had monks, people who would be in the order, who are going to take a vow of poverty essentially, and they're going to teach in these schools. So they offered classical Christian education for free to the community as a way to evangelize the natives,
the community,
so to speak.
Yeah.
So if you can take that historical example of it was done and they could not hire teachers fast enough, it just exploded, and there was a mass opportunity for the evangelization of just people who didn't know right from left.
Okay.
So we're in a very different circumstance now, but it's like, how do you evangelize the secular natives? Because of course we have a responsibility and duty first to give our children and the children in our church a good Christian, doctrine, teaching, all that. It's still the parents' responsibility at the end of the day, right? But the church has an interest, and even civil society has an interest. So you could think about what on Protestant principles, who we don't tend to look, favorably on monastery schools, which is basically what these were. What do you do? How do you find those guys? They're kind of like missionaries. How do you fund those guys and treat them as kind of re-evangelizing, whether it's the secular people or using them to even, alleviate some of the financial burden and tuition costs for parents in your own church. So there's a lot there, but that would be one example historically of how they were able to get this done. even if Protestants, we would not be happy with that.
I think so. To me, it sounds like there's kind of two different categories. As I would say it. How do we create a school for our own Christian kids, and then how do we create a school that's going to evangelize and be free to the community and be a massive resource to the broader non-Christian community?
Right.
Is that how you guys are thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. And
multiple generations out. This is the post-millennial vision of education.
Like how do we turn our education into something that connects with the whole community, and it's free and it's able to, it's competing with public schools in a real genuine way, basically.
Correct. And if not free, then whatever the cost is, it's commensurate with what you're getting from it, and it's accessible.
Yeah. So in terms of the Christian school thing, you Christians are paying for the school. There's a real value trade there. And everyone understands the value exchange. The school that's kind of outward facing, the parents don't understand the value exchange. You got to figure out the financial model differently. Correct? Is that how you guys think about it?
Yeah.
The Christian school, because we have the same problem at our just Christian school where it just can't pay teachers like what it should. I think one thing Christians need to work on doing is creating endowments for these schools, and then the teachers are able to draw salary out of that endowment. So not only do they get their salary from the school, but the endowment can also supplement and deal with that problem. That's something the endowment process, the endowment thing for the community school. It actually might be another part of this solution, because the broader community absolutely would love to see something like this.
Can we just talk about getting our money back though from the government that's we're already giving all our money to for education that we're not using?
That's part of the conversation constantly.
It's much worse in Washington.
Well, oh yeah. But I guess my point is that this can't be a singular form of attack. It has to be a multifaceted one, so that if anyone gets and breaks through first, it's going to help everybody else. So if one crack in the glass, this thing's going to fall apart, right? And so this is why I kind of guess smash mouth incrementalism is probably what I'm thinking about here. But yeah, you got to figure out how to survive through the process. But we don't just have one problem.
Yeah,
we have multiple problems that are robbing families, because I don't think that
it's making it difficult.
It is, and education is unique, but we don't think about this, or we don't try to think about this like any other form of business isn't thought through this way. We got to figure out how to make sure, if a family can figure out how to have the income that they work for and keep more of their money and use their money that they have and to opt out of the secular form of education, that's already solving the problem, because I'm paying for 2 educations.
Right.
Someone else who I don't even know, and my own kids, right? And I got 7. So I mean, I'm getting hosed here,
killed.
right? I mean, just
killed.
And so part of the problem is I don't have the money to spend where I want to spend for my children to have the education that I want to give them. So that's a huge part of it. And now I got to figure out another form of income in order to be able to pay for the education that I want my kids to have.
And it's usually the wife. That's often the pressure you feel is, all right, my wife's going to try to find work outside the home
or whatever,
to do it. And so a question for like your elder session, if you're a church, is how do you shepherd your congregation through that really real financial tension of, we want to give our kids this good thing, we know we want to make sacrifices, what is the church's role, if any, to help?
And you can't look primarily to the free market to solve this, because we went and watched the NSA school give this incredible performance. The
music concert.
The music concert, yeah. And as Luke and I were leaving, I mentioned to him, there's no possible way you could ever pay them what they actually put into that performance in a tangible way. Like, they're not even coming close to making minimum wage. Even if because they have, each individual have hundreds of hours of practice into something like this. Yeah. And so unless you're like with like the music world, unless you're like in the top 1%, you're never making money at music. And that's not the point, because you're creating art. Education needs to be seen as this public good, at least public within our churches. Yeah. And we can't expect Christian schools to survive purely on the free market. And honestly, the problem is money. But money is a simple solution on its face, because what you need what you need primarily is good schools. And that is not something that can be solved with money. So once you
That's
have
a
the good
people
school,
problem.
that's a people
church
problem.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
once you
Human
have
resource.
the
Mhm.
good school,
Mhm.
then the problem just becomes money, which is a much simpler problem to solve because money is just a transactional thing.
Okay, we got John Decker coming up here. Christ the King
I want to
Church
stay and talk with John.
in Eugene.
Yeah.
In
Can we
Eugene,
stay for
from
John's
Eugene,
talk?
Oregon? My dad actually helped start this church.
Okay.
In the
Did we
CRAC.
solve anything? I feel like you guys just came and made more problems
Hey,
for us to think
we
of.
only have
I was
20
dis-
minutes.
Yep.
I
We'll
was
be back
disappointed with your
next year.
tablet. I thought you had more stuff on there that was going to
I
solve
rebuke your
problems.
tablet in
I
Jesus'
was
name.
exercising great
He
restraint.
he had 2 pages of content right there that
Did
I
you
could
really?
see. Yeah, he did.
We've got a lot more under this.
We-
And, I'll come back.
We got to do
You
this.
have
We
to
got to
really,
do this longer.
really,
Yeah.
you do have to come back because I
So
don't like people starting problems we can't get to
real
the
quick
bottom
before
of.
John Decker comes up on the deck. Website, church website again.
Yeah, ChristCovenantCentralia.com, and the
School?
school is
ChristTheKingAcademy.org.
Okay.
Yeah, you ever send some goat meat to Moscow?
It can happen.
Can it?
He
talk.
knows
Maybe
some
go
people.
milk.
He
If
knows
you
some
know
people.
it's right.
How about
Yeah.
goat cheese?
Yeah.
That's
I'm
stuff.
just
That's
saying,
what you want.
let's
That's
keep
what
me
you
in
want.
touch. I want to smoke some
We'll stay
goat
together.
meat. Yeah,
Capper.com.
okay.
Is that the
Yeah, that's exactly right. NowCapper.com.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
God bless
thank you guys very
Man,
much.
sorry we can't hang out more. Love it. We'll get you guys back on.
I think Aaron just depressed me a little bit.